where we explore pivotal moments in history. Today we're diving into the Battle of Badr, a key battle in early Islamic history. In the 7th century, a pivotal conflict arose between the nascent Muslim community in Medina and the Quraysh of Mecca. The history of Islam in Mecca during its early days, particularly the problems faced by Muslims before the Hijra, migration to Medina, is a period marked by significant challenges and opposition. Here's an overview of this period. Pre-Islamic context. Mecca's religious landscape. Before Islam, Mecca was a major religious center in Arabia, home to the Kaaba, which housed numerous idols worshipped by various tribes. Socio-political environment. The Quraysh tribe, the custodians of the Kaaba, held significant power and wealth, derived largely from trade and the annual pilgrimage. Advent of Islam. Prophet Muhammad's revelation, 620 CE. Muhammad, a member of the Quraysh tribe, began preaching a monotheistic message after receiving revelations, which later formed the Quran. Initial secret phase. The first few years of Islam were characterized by secret gatherings and quiet preaching due to the potential for hostility. Increasing opposition. Public preaching and rising hostility. As Islam moved into public preaching, opposition from the Quraysh intensified. The new faith was seen as a direct threat to the socio-economic structure and religious traditions of Mecca. Economic and social boycott. The Muslims, particularly those from weaker clans, faced economic sanctions, social ostracism, and physical threats. The Hashim clan, Prophet Muhammad's family, was notably boycotted. Persecution of early Muslims. Physical abuse and torture. Some of the early followers, especially those without tribal protection, faced brutal treatment, including beatings and torture. Martyrdoms. Notable early martyrs like Sumayya bint Kabat, who was killed for her faith, highlight the severity of the persecution. Islamic teachings and community development. Emphasis on patience and endurance. Early revelations focused on themes of patience, moral fortitude, and the promise of divine reward for those who endured. Growth despite persecution. Despite the challenges, the Muslim community in Mecca continued to grow, attracting individuals from various social strata. Attempts at reconciliation and escalation. Negotiations and threats. The Quraysh offered Muhammad incentives to abandon his preaching and made threats when he refused. Migration to Abyssinia, 615 CE. Facing severe persecution, some Muslims sought refuge in Abyssinia, now Ethiopia, under a Christian king known for his justice. Decision to migrate. The Hijra, 622 CE. The ongoing persecution and the political and social circumstances in Mecca led to the Hijra to Medina. This migration marked a significant turning point in Islamic history, as it allowed for the establishment of a Muslim community under Muhammad's leadership. The early history of Islam in Mecca is a testament to the resilience and perseverance of the early Muslim community in the face of considerable adversity. This period laid the foundation for the later expansion and consolidation of Islam as a major world religion. The Battle of Badr, fought on 17 Ramadan 2 AH, March 13, 624 CE, was a pivotal moment in Islamic history and marked the first major military confrontation between the Muslims and their Quraysh adversaries from Mecca. Here's an overview of how the battle started and other key details. Prelude to the battle. Background context. After the Hijra migration from Mecca to Medina in 622 CE, the Muslim community under Prophet Muhammad's leadership faced continuous threats from the Quraysh of Mecca. Economic strain. The Muslims in Medina, many of whom had left their wealth and businesses behind in Mecca, were economically strained. This was exacerbated by the Quraysh's control over trade routes passing near Medina. Events leading to the battle. Intelligence. About a caravan. Muhammad learned that a rich Quraysh caravan, led by Abu Sufyan and carrying significant wealth from Syria, was returning to Mecca, passing close to Medina. Initial plan. The initial plan was to intercept this caravan, which was seen as partly comprising wealth unjustly taken from the Muslims during their migration. Change in strategy, Abu Sufyan, learning of the Muslims' plan, sent a messenger to Mecca for reinforcements, while he took a different route to avoid the Muslims. Quraysh's response. The Quraysh, eager to protect their wealth and assert their power, quickly mustered a large army to confront Muhammad's forces. The battle. Location and date. The Battle of Badr occurred near a well at Badr, about 80 miles southwest of Medina. Numbers and equipment. The Muslims numbered around 313 men, poorly equipped, facing a well-armed Quraysh force of about 1,000 men. Initial skirmishes. The battle began with traditional single combats, where several key Quraysh warriors were killed. Main combat. It then escalated to general combat. Despite being outnumbered and less equipped, the Muslim forces displayed remarkable resilience and strategic acumen. Turning point. Key tactical decisions by Muhammad and the unexpected fierceness of the Muslim fighters turned the tide in their favor. The aftermath of the Battle of Badr had significant consequences for both the Muslim community in Medina and the Quraysh of Mecca. The battle, which took place on 17 Ramadan, 22 AH, March 13, 624 CE, marked a critical turning point in the early Islamic history. Here are the key events and implications following the battle. Immediate aftermath. Quraysh casualties. The Quraysh suffered heavy losses, including several of their leaders and notable warriors. Around 70 were killed and another 70 captured. Muslim victory. For the Muslims, the victory was a significant morale booster. They had faced a much larger and better equipped force and emerged victorious. Treatment of prisoners. Prisoners of war. The Muslims took a number of Quraysh members prisoner. The treatment of these prisoners was notably humane for the time. Some were ransomed, and those who could not afford ransom were given other options, like teaching literacy to the Muslims for their freedom. Setting precedents. This approach to prisoners set a precedent in Islamic warfare regarding the treatment of captives. Impact on Muslim community, boost in confidence and legitimacy. The victory significantly bolstered the confidence and legitimacy of Muhammad and the Muslim community in Medina. Increase in conversions. The success at Badr attracted more people to Islam, as it was seen as a sign of divine favor. Meccan response. Desire for revenge. The defeat was a major blow to the Quraysh's prestige. They began preparations for revenge, leading to further conflicts, most notably the Battle of Uhud the following year. Continued hostilities. The Battle of Badr initiated a series of escalating conflicts between the Muslims and the Quraysh, culminating in the eventual conquest of Mecca by Muhammad and his followers in 630 CE. Long-term consequences. Shift in power dynamics. The battle marked the beginning of a shift in power from the Quraysh to the Muslims in the Arabian Peninsula. Solidification O. Solidification of Islamic community. It helped to solidify the Muslim community in Medina, making it a significant power in Arabia. Religious and cultural impact. Quranic revelations. Several verses in the Quran were revealed in the context of the Battle of Badr, emphasizing the divine support the Muslims received. Symbolic significance. The battle is remembered in Islamic tradition as a decisive victory of faith and commitment over greater numbers and strength. The Battle of Badr is remembered as a landmark event in Islamic history, symbolizing not just a military victory, but also the emergence of Islam as a significant socio-political force in the Arabian Peninsula.